1,000 cc's. Not long ago, in the 10th Parliament, when I was listening, I was a member of Parliament, we were told we are going to ban all four-wheel drives, and we are going to bring Passat, and we are going to bring the smaller vehicles. And there was none other than the finance minister at the time, Uhuru Kenyatta. What happened? I think we went and buy some Passats because it suited somebody. We found the Mercedes were cheaper than the Passat to run. But the whole thing fell apart. If you look at our car park, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are full of four-wheel drives, totally inefficient fuel consumption, huge guzzlers of power. You go to the Westminster Parliament, people are driving in, coming in on bicycles. You go to the Malaysian Parliament, that's what they're doing. They're coming in on Malaysian vehicles, Malaysian and other things like this. So as I say, it's a good policy. We wanted it for the numerical machines, we wanted it for other things. But we have taken and cannibalized the automotive policy, a national automotive policy of other countries. I want you to read it, Honorable Kiari. Please read it and put it next to the one for Malaysia. Put it next to the one from South Africa. Why do we now want to go for this? What I'm hoping to do, we want to take this thing, make it relevant for now. How do we make it relevant? We don't need to go and produce those old computers. We want to produce these things. We want to produce vehicles that are now valid, hybrid, electrical vehicles, vehicles that can run on hydrogen, vehicles that can be hybrid. Mr. Honorable Speaker, sir, when I was the mayor of Kisumu, we started the bicycles, border, as my brother says. And there were not more than 300 borders in Kisumu. Within a year, with support from other people and the United Nations, we were over 10,000 border bicycles. We then graduated to motorcycles. We graduated to three-wheelers. Now the motorcycle is one of the most important vehicles in this country. You can go from point A to point B on a motorcycle. Many of us who don't care too much about big things have ridden motorcycles. I've seen Honorable Kiari read. If I want to go to a place where there's a lot of traffic, I'll ride the border. The border is what we call, as you call it, grassroots economy, bottom up, if you want to call it that way. So what we need to do is to take those bottom up. Let's not go on the big vehicles. Okay, we want the lorries and everything else. The engines are made. The rest of that car, other than perhaps the engine and the engine block, we have the technology to make everything else here. We can make those bodies, we can make everything we can. But this thing says, this policy says that a National Automotive Council is to be set up. Now who is in the council? Those old thinking of the past, KM, KVM, Nanani. They don't want produce. They don't want to have an informer. The Toyotas are selling beautiful, they're selling their vehicles. The Japanese are selling their scrap vehicles here, and we are going and buying them. We are a consumer society. So when you hear, I mean, in my time, I thought a Porsche was one vehicle that was used for specialized people. A Porsche. Nowadays, you see Porsches here like anything, and they're not the Porsches we used to know. So what we are trying to suggest here is let's do the thing, but in a new way, like we did M-Pesa. We did not go for those old analog machines. We went for change. So the change we want is hybrid. The change we want is electric. I say this, I was in Pakistan not long ago, maybe 2 years ago. And then I found out something the other day. And I'm telling you this. They are taking a motorcycle, they're changing the rear wheel, and that rear wheel has an electric motor in it. It costs no more than so the time is, that's what we need to do. We don't need long, drawn-out policies. That's very good. Let's do them. But those are old policies that are going to take us back to the past. We need to look at this policy, and Honorable Kerry and others who know about this, we need to call them and say, hold on a second, where are we going? Are you now trying to tell us we want to build trams in London, here in Nairobi, or do we want to bring old technology? We don't. We want new technology. We need bicycle. I mean, the thing is, you know, bicycle. Why can't we make a bicycle here in Dagoretti? They say it is that little thing is called an engine. We can't make that engine. Surely not. We have made so many things at numerical machines, Honorable Chair. I used to sell tractors. We used to bring scrap tractors from the UK. I used to rebuild that tractor completely as new here in Kenya and sell them for 2-year guarantees. And there was in Dagoretti that I used to do that. I used to go to numerical machines. If there was something wrong with the camshaft, I had it made there. I went, where the block was broken, we fixed it there. So I think what we have is the capacity. So, Mr. Chair, with those few remarks, I want to end, but I say this is the right thing, but in the wrong way. You don't need what we are seeing here. It is not what we want. We don't want a sledgehammer. We want to do it properly. Thank you very much, and I look forward to interacting with those people who have planned this policy. And let's not just do it because of the sake of policy, because it's been done by about 100 countries. Why do we want to be 100?
Very well. Your time is over. Well spoken, and I'm very happy that leadership is in the House. Honorable Wako is here and listening. I think the contributions are immense and good. Next to speak on this is Honorable Andrew Okwome, Karachuonyo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Now I support this, this motion under persuasion that we have to look at unemployment position in this country. We have also to consider the development situation in this country. We must be innovative. We must find out how we can create employment and also develop Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I do realize that most of the machineries we need are imported, nearly all of them. But it is that we are to do this permanently in our lives. The automotive policy that we use must be changed and tamed to help us develop Kenya and to help us create development. Our agriculture is in need of development. We need to have automotive policy that can enable agriculture to be developed. We import tractors. Some of the tractors we need could be very simple types which I'm told are found in India, and maybe if we decide to manufacture them, it won't cost us so much. We have to import that kind of technology into this country. That's the technology part, not the machineries. That's the kind of policy I think will help us out of the problem that we find ourselves in. The same thing goes with motor vehicles. I know my colleagues have spoken about this, and if you listen to them, they are really on excellent points which can help us. We have to change so that we are not the consumers at all times. I was listening the other time when the president of this country was speaking, and in fact, he adopted a policy of non-subsidy for consumption. He could only do it for production. If we are importing vehicles, even for the government or whatever, it doesn't matter how expensive they are. With that policy, we could not get any, subsidy cannot be given because we are consumers. But if we were to manufacture some of these things, the government will come in because that is production. That way, we'll be directing our resources to what will help us and create employment I was talking about. It will help us to increase our GDP level high enough to cause good development that we so much need. Things like even the motorcycles, the boda as it is known in Kenya, those do not need very complicated technology. If we adopt a policy that can help us manufacture these kind of machineries, we will be doing so good for our country. I know my friend who has just spoken, and he was waving to me negatively to indicate to me that this kind of policy has been adopted, and it was adopted a long time ago, but the implementation becomes a problem. Yes, that kind of situation is not isolated. We have so many cases where we make decisions, but implementation is conspicuously absent. So that's a different kind of problem. It is not what we can solve when we are discussing this issue. But in my opinion, the motion is timely, it is good. Even if it was there before, we need to renew it, and we need to ensure that implementation part is done with. Now, Mr. Speaker, the other part of the policy I would have liked us to really emphasize on is the spare parts for all these kind of machineries which we import. If you have a vehicle and a spare part is broken and you want to replace it, sometimes you wait for it to be ordered from abroad. Yet, the technology to produce it is probably present in this country. I would really wish that we examine these kind of things thoroughly and compare what is needed with our capacity, financially or in human resource, so that we can be able to do what can help this country develop, in order that we and our youth can get employment for us to move forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for having given me time to contribute, and I do emphasize that I support this policy. Thank you.
Honorable David Mboni, Kitui Rural.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me a chance also to put my remarks to this policy. And on the onset, I suppose the policy, the session paper number 1 of 2002 on national automobile policy. Mr. Speaker, why I support this policy, this session paper, this policy, is because this policy will provide an enabling environment for automotive industry players to realize their potential and position Kenya as a major automotive manufacturer and improve the local automobile assembly ecosystem in order to expand local market size by promotion of local parts. Mr. Speaker, Vision 2030 and Agenda 4, they have put manufacturing sector as one of the pillars of this economy because of its potential to contribute to the GDP, gross domestic product, significant. Manufacturing sector creates jobs. Most of the jobs in this modern jobs are in manufacturing sector. It promotes productivity and growth in this country. It also promotes innovation and services and trade, because most of the people are in this sector. They are in trade, and they are also in manufacturing. The sector contributes around 8% of the GDP. And automotive subsector is one of the subsectors in the manufacturing sector. And this sector in Kenya is growing very fast. As you can see the growth in the National Economic Survey. Demand for the spares is also growing very fast. However, Kenya remains a small producer of automobile services in this country as compared to South Africa, Nigeria, Egypt, and Morocco. So Kenya is a small player in manufacturing of automobiles in this country. Mr. Speaker, you recall 1990s, Kenya produced its first car, the Nyayo car. And I don't know what happened with that car. It's unfortunate that as Kenyans, we prepare goods which are produced from other countries. I tend to think if we emphasized using that car and encouraging the local manufacturer to continue to produce that car, even if it was moving at 80 kilometers per hour, I think we could have improved that car by now. And I think we'll be a big exporter of vehicles to East and Central Africa. And we'll be earning a lot of foreign exchange and creating a lot of jobs if we continued with that, that venture. Market for cars in this country is quite big. You can see the number of vehicles which we are importing. The small, the saloon cars and also big cars. We are importing cars, motorcycles, and tractors in this country. And we are only manufacturing new cars only for public transport, the matatus, the big matatus. Otherwise, the Nissans and whatever we are importing. And we need, as a country, we need to think about using our own products. Even if we produce a car, even if it's not as ugly as what, let's use it. We are going to improve it as time goes on. But the moment we think about a Mercedes-Benz, a very good car from Japan or German, we are not going to move. So this policy to me is very important, and we need as a parliament to approve it, and the ministry concerned to come up with guidelines to implement the policy so that at least we can move. Because this policy, if implemented, we are going to create jobs for our students. There are so many students who are coming from universities, engineers, mechanics, electrical engineers, and automobile engineers. I remember last time, 2 months ago, there was somebody who had a student, a former student, who had a first-class degree in mechanical engineering. And he had no jobs. He had no job. In fact, he was doing cultivation somewhere in, I think, Mulango, somewhere there. So if this industry is really working and it has potential, that person will not be able to be doing manual jobs in the farms. We have students from polytechnics, the TPETs, which we are constructing in each constituency. The designers, all these ones will be able to get jobs And they also get incomes and increase the productivity, the GDP of this country. The new cars, if we produce them, they are going to reduce pollution. Pollutions, when you talk about climate change, pollution is one of the factors which are contributing to climate change. It is also going to save us our foreign exchange, because we are using a lot of foreign exchange to import cars. And that's why you see the dollar is increasing is appreciating every day, and our shilling is going down every day. But if we are buying these products, the cars and spare parts from this country, we will not be facing this kind of thing. And you know, when you import something, you are exporting a job. And we have so many youth, as I stated, who needs this job. So, but as we implement the policy, we also need to think about our roads, because our roads are very congested. Traffic jams are everywhere. I mean, you can't move. We need to design our roads such a way that we have walkways for pedestrians, and also bicycles. If you go to Europe, and in particular in German, I think they have the